Balakun, a bridge to Ukraine. Join the conversation at balakun.co.
Балакун – міст в Україну. Долучайтесь до наших розмов на www.balakun.co.
Please subscribe!
Welcome. This session, we have a very special guest with us, Mavile, and we're going to be talking about Crimean Tatars.
I think that our guest will introduce herself. I just wanted to add something in the beginning that as we started our podcast with perception, the perception of Crimean Tatars is a very tough and serious question, as even between Ukrainians in the society of Crimea, Crimean Tatars were perceived in a very wrong way, and little was known about their history, about their traditions, about their customs and who they really are. And I wanted to open up this window, and I wanted Mavile to tell more about Crimean Tatar nation and why Crimean Tatars are not Tatars.
Okay, hello guys again. First of all, thanks for invitation and thanks for a chance to tell you and our listeners more about Crimean Tatars. For someone, it can be kind of new information. For someone, I maybe can add something about their knowledges about Crimean Tatars. And I also want to show who are Crimean Tatars. I very want to show you our history. And also I want to warn, I'm not a professional historian, and it's just my knowledges, and I want to explain. I think to good way to explain our values. It's show you our history, which events we had in our history, about our religion and our traditions. I think this like two ways help me first of all to explain you who are Crimean Tatars.
And we also have this heading on our podcast when I teach Sandy some Ukrainian words and making her pronounce this word and a sentence using this word. And I would think that it would be fair enough for today that Mavile teaches both of us Crimean Tatar word and a sentence.
Okay, well, I think we can do something together. I wanted to start with history and who are Crimean Tatars. But if we speak about language, yes, Crimean Tatar language is one of the Turic languages, and it gives us a lot of opportunities because Turic world it's very big world. And for example, and our languages are similar. And for example, if you know Crimean Tatar language, even on a beginner level, yes, you can understand people from Azerbaijan, from Turkey, I don't know, or from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Of course, you can't speak with them fluently, but I mean, base phrases you can understand, and it's a very good, I think, goal to learn one of the Turkic languages. Yes, for example, Crimean Tatar language, because it's like a key for whole Turic world, and it helps you first of all to understand a lot of people.
That's really wonderful. And I knew that Crimean Tatar was a very it had some same phrases as Turkish, as I heard that many Crimean Tatars actually understood Turkish, but I didn't realize the scale of it. So like Kazakhs and Uzbeks and all the other nations who are of the Turkish origin.
Yeah. It's really true. And if you know, in 9th century, Tatar language, it was like lingua franca for whole people who came to Crimea, because it was like point. Crimea, it was like a land, and through this land, a lot of people travel to buy something, to sell something, and one common language that helped uh, people to speak with each other, it was Crimean Tatar. I read some articles about all this, and I was in shock, if be honest, because and I was in shock and I was proud. And if we say about modern Turkic world, it's really huge.
Are there other cultural aspects that are similar between all of these things, or is it mostly just language?
We have maybe because of our religion, we all have common religion. And if we say about religion, its influence on our culture, and we have maybe mm, same holidays, yes, but um, we are same, and in the same time we have our own identity. And I think it's beautiful because not all our holidays and not all our tradition are same, but language help. If you know some of the Turkic language, it helps you to communicate with other. And I think it's very good. It's like I even it's really like one of the languages that it's common for. And in Crimean Tatar language, we have three dialects and or three accents. And all of these accents, for example, if we speak about one of the accents, it's same with Turkish language. Another accent, it's same with Kazakh language. And also, for example, third, our accent is same with another part of Turkic world. And that's why it helped us to understand more people.
So, who are Crimean Tatars? Let's start from the very beginning.
Okay, so if we start with beginning, yes, so Crimean Tatars are indigenous inhabitants of Crimea, yes, and we historically formed in the Crimean Peninsula. So we formed there, I think, over the 1,000 years, and influence of many factors. Its specific features of the anthropological type, race, language, character, tradition, religion, and everyday life of the indigenous people have appeared. So it was a difficult process, and it was influenced by many peoples and unions at different times. For example, if we say, for example, Taurians, yes, Crimean, Scythians, Sarmatians, Alans, Hellenes. So a lot of ancient nations, yes, and many other were direct, like how to say, direct influence of modern Crimean Tatars. And it cannot be said that someone more or someone less had an impact on the Crimeans. They all made their significant genetic contribution and laid their foundation for the future nation, which is, in the 15th century, would create its own independent state. And if you want to know, for example, we if we say about our I before I told you yes about our accents, our dialects, and despite the monolithic nature of the Crimean nation, today it is divided into three main, it's like top um, ethnic groups. It's mountain Tatars, yes, it's steppe Tatars. We say in Crimean Tatars, we say Nuraylar. And Southern Coastal, it's people who live on the coast of Black Sea. It's we in Crimean Tatar we say Yalıboylu. And among themselves, and representative of these three groups uh, are designated by types, features of the dialect, and some features in customs. But important factor was the habitat of each of three sub-ethnic groups. If if I say like in very short form for you, yes, how were we created in Crimea? So we created in Crimea, and it's very important fact that we have to know. We didn't came from Tatarstan like a lot of people can imagine. Yes, I don't know. We didn't. We created in Crimea, and its main idea that I want to I provide every time, and I tell everyone that we created in Crimea. It's very important.
Yeah, and actually, I was talking to my mentor the other day, and he told me the term Tatars itself, that there are Tatars and so on and so forth. And I corrected him, not Tatars, but Crimean Tatars. And I know that there is a difference between these names, and there are also some other names for Crimean Tatars. So what's the right name of it? Is it Crimean Tatars or another one? How do you call yourself?
Yeah, now even in Crimean Tatar area, it's very debatable question. I try to explain why. Because some parts of Crimean Tatars say that the name Crimean Tatars it was given by Russian Empire, yes, to clean your identity because in Russian language, Tatar it's all who are outsiders. Yes, all outsiders they call them Tatar, and that's why for now it's for someone who don't know these like differences. It's we are all Tatars, and they can't like separate, yes, who are Crimean Tatars and who are, I don't know, Kazan Tatars, for example. They even don't know what is difference. Um,
I also think of it like there is a heritage, a history event of the Mongol Tatar invasion. And I think that it's also a way to put some label on Crimean Tatars that they were the one who invaded.
yeah, but it's not very correct because we are not very connected with Mongol Tatars. It's quite different stories. But because of this name Tatar, a lot of people who don't know history, yes, he tried to like connect two ways of and make like
Oh, I see.
common story, same story for us, but it's not correct. If we and another part of Crimean Tatar, they say that um, it's like we have to call us like Qirimli, which means somebody who are from Crimea, you know, and one part says and find some sources where uh, they they show like look there was for example 300 years was like just Hormuz without any Tatar etc. Another part says, look, no, you are not right. We have some sources, and there is name like Crimean Tatars, and even nowadays it's very debatable. It's really debatable question, and I think we have to study and we have to learn more sources to give a correct answer for this. It's first of all about our identity, and I think I also can't say what is true, what is it false, yes, because as I told you before, I'm not the historian and I can't say what is it true, and that's why I I will wait for what our scientists will show us, which facts they will give us. Maybe um, we have to. mm, we have to learn more our archives, yes, to find some information, because even for today it's really debatable question.
Mm-hmm. So the second name that you mentioned is the one who lived in Crimea. Like as far as I pronounce it correctly, it's Qirimli, right?
Yes, Qirimli, we also say.
It has Krim in it. And what's the name Crimea itself? What's this meaning? What's the origin of it?
There are a lot of also some different like explanation what word is it, how to explain it, and some sources say it's like a land, yes, some source like it's like a peninsula from ancient languages, and it's also very complicated story.
Is it a Crimea Tatar word?
If we say, I think it came to Crimean Tatar language, but I'm not sure what language, from what language it came. We say like in Crimean Tatars way, yes, we say like Khoram, and we write it, we spell it, yeah. But I'm not sure is it what language, yes, I mean ancient language is came from.
I read somewhere that it means island, or is that just a simple translation?
Yes, it's very simple translation, like island or like a peninsula. Yes, but it's from our ancient languages. But I think we have to, yeah, we have to check it more careful. I mean, to find some more sources that can show it us, because now it just some theories. Yes, what uh, no one can be sure to 100% that it was from, because even our language, Crimean Tatar language, is also based on the ancient languages. I mean, um, because the people who lived before, yes, and they also speak in different languages. These languages mixed, yes, and also these people also mixed, and Crimean Tatar created with their language. I think it's some complicated process, and it's difficult to answer that. It just what language it was, yes, and as I told you before, in Crimea lived a lot of nations, and all of them like of influenced on our on influence on Crimean Tatar, even for our for modern Crimean Tatar. Because if you see a modern Crimean Tatar, we are very different. Yes, we can be our appearance. It's really very different. In Crimean Tatars, you say you can see also people with blonde hair, with black hair, with different eyes, with different skin, and sometimes you like see, and mm, you can't even imagine, yes, that he is or she is Crimean Tatar. That's why I think it's a result of this process that was I don't know 1,000 years ago.
Mhm. So the word Kirim is the place and Qirimli is the people. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, people who are from Crimea. If we translate if it's translated word by word, yeah, that's why one part of Crimean Tatars, they don't like this name Qirimli because it's translated. It means like people who are from Crimea, and they explain like people who are from Crimea. It's and in Greeks and I don't know, and Ukrainians and Russians and Crimean Tatars also, yes, but it's difficult to separate. Um, and to understand what person do you mean. I mean about his nationality, and that's why, yeah, as I told you before, it's really a debated question, and we have to study it more carefully.
Are these debates based on sub-ethnical differences or just personal opinion of?
Personal opinion and kind of sources that people use and that people mentioned. And all of these sources, it's really respectful sources. And even when I watched interview of our scientists who debate about this question, yes, oh, mm, they are they they are all very confident, yes, and it's really difficult to understand the real reason and the real answer. That's why I think we have to study more.
So that's all the reason and all it goes from the history, I guess, and all that there was a bunch of nations that assimilated into Crimean Tatar nation, and so that's the different approaches became afterwards.
Yes, and you have to also remember that a lot of our documents, imported documents, are in archives, and usually it's these archives not in Crimea, even not in Ukraine. They are in usual in Moscow, yes, and it's very difficult to take something there, and even to find something or to have um, to have opportunities to take this information. That's why I think we have to work on this. We have to work. We have to study this.
And how is history formed? Like the history of Crimean Tatars formed so far? Like, are there a lot of white gaps, or is it somewhat formed like a line, the whole line of the history?
If we speak about Crimean Tatar, so um, I think I have to say about Crimean Hanat. Yes, it was multinational, multi-confessional entity, and in the modern concept, it's a very tolerant state. Here lived and Crimean Tatars and Karaites and Krimchaks, Urums. It's like dissidents of the Hellenes, dissidents of the Goths, Armenians, Crimean Romani, or we call them Urmancheli if you hear. All of them are subject of the Crimean Han. They lived in peace and harmony and in accordance with the law, and thanks to the wise policies of Crimean rules, a unique system of balance, and they lived in the tolerance.
So was it some sort of So was it some sort of federation that time?
It wasn't federation. It just, I mean, all of consequences made um, for comfortable life for whole citizens of this Hanat. If you are Muslim, you can go to the mosque. Yes, if you are, I don't know, Christian, you can go to the church, and they don't have any problems how to communicate because, as I told you, there was a very wise policy how to um, how to make life of these people comfortable.
Do you explain the definition of a Hanat?
It's like government, Crimean government is.
It's like we have king, and we have kingdom. We have Han and we have Hanat.
I see.
If we say about Crimean Hanat, yes, to modern concept of nation, it did not exist. Religion played a major role. And if we say, for example, the ruling dynasty in Crimea was House of Giray and founded by first Han Haji Giray first. And for example, if we say about the era of Crimean Hanat was a heyday of Crimean Tatar culture and art and literature, and the classical Crimean Tatar poetry of that time was Ashikumer. Among other poets, it's Mahmud Khurramlı and Khan Ghazi II. They are well known in Turkic world, I mean. And the main of preserved monuments of that time is the Han Palace in Bakhchisarai. It's the capital of Crimea. It was in the past. Now it's another city, but the capital of Crimean Hanat, it was Bakhchisarai.
And what period of time was this?
It's 15th to 18th century. Because in 18th century, Crimean Hanat became like, like a bargain chip in the geopolitical game between Turkey and Russia. And at the end of the century, it fell in the Russian zone of influence. And in 1783, as a result of Russian victory over the Ottoman Empire, Crimea was first occupied and later annexed by Russia. And this marked the beginning of a new era in the history of Crimean Tatars, which we call like Black Century in Crimean Tatar language. We say Kara Asr. It's if we translate it, yes, it's like the Black Century. Because if we say about Russian policy toward the Crimean Hanat with the invasion of Russian troops in Crimea, as its climax was, it was like if we say about annexion, yes, it was accompanied by numerous violation of the rights and freedoms of the local population. And in fact, it was occupation of a sovereign and independent state of Crimean Tatars under the rule Shahin Giray. Because of that, after this occupation, if before this occupation, Crimean Tatars was in majority, there are a lot of Crimean Tatars. After it, we also call it like first wave of deportation Crimean Tatars, because all of these consequences was for some Crimean Tatars were very dangerous because of their religion, because and they tried to survive, and a lot of Crimean Tatars moved to the Central Ottoman Empire. It was in Turkey. Yes, it's nowadays Turkey. They moved to Turkey. And if we say about modern Crimean Tatar who live now in Turkey, and whose grandparents, great grandparents, moved to Turkey. Yes, they a less amount of people know that they are real Crimean Tatar because they lived in Turkey during 300 years, and of course, this I mean my age Crimean Tatar, they even a less amount, a small amount of people know that they are Crimean Tatar. I mean, yes, and this so sad. So the Crimean Tatar have become a minority, and the Russian and Ukrainian settlers were coming to Crimea, and the ancient culture was subjected to harassment as a result of Russian colonial policy. But in the late of 9th century, um, is we say about like Reformation movement maybe has emerged and led by the Crimean Tatar intellectuals. First of all, it's Ismail Gaspinsky. I maybe you hear about this person. It's a teacher, writer, journalist who was published the newspaper Terjüman. It's in Crimean Tatar. If it translated in English, it's Terjüman. It means translator. Yes, and we came like to Crimean Tatar revival. Yes, uh, mm, it's connected first of all with name of the cultural figure or educator Ismail Gasparinsky. If you want, I can continue to say about and speak about Ismail Gasparinsky. So if we speak about Ismail Gasparinsky, he made great efforts for the revival and survival of the Crimean people. He urged his compatriots not to leave Crimea because this process was very painful, and he understood that it's like it's disaster. It's really disaster that a lot of Crimean Tatars move to Turkey. Yes, and he used his newspaper Terjüman to explain to the Crimean Tatars that they were a nation with the roots in the Crimean earth. This nation whose history was reaching ancient times, and like he was, the emphasis was placed on the fact that they were a secular nation possessing full right to the homeland. That's why he's very important Crimean um, for Crimean Tatars. His newspaper, it was published in Bakhchisarai, Crimea from, if I'm not mistaken, 1883 to 1918 years. And it was like, national organ of the Muslims in Crimea and all Muslims who live in the Russian Empire, and symbol of unity of these Muslims. And the first article in the newspaper started that Terjüman would serve to the best of its ability as a guide for clear and useful cultural information. Yes, that's why if we speak about this, yes, 2 centuries, it looked like this.
He seems to be a very important figure.
It's very important figure, yes, because he made a lot of. If I Terjüman, it's like small piece of all of his work. He created a very interesting educational system for um, for poor people who lived in village. For example, I try to explain you. A lot of people who lived in village, they couldn't have opportunity to teach their children, and he proposed them this it was like way how to teach children. He proposed to make small schools in each village. Yes, it was. He rent a house, and for example, parents who didn't have money, they can bring everything to this something to this school. It can be food, I don't know. It can be lots. It can be some paper, and all of he collect everything, and children in village they had chance to study, and this system was very successful because in the end of this he create new really he create modern program for them, and he tried to make some subjects, yes, separate with each other, and it was 4 years program. After 4 year, children have to pass exam, and then the most talented, the most successful students uh, could go to the Turkey or to the Europe to study there and to have education in the very famous universities of Europe and Turkey. Yes.
And what about his last name? It's Gasprinsky, and is it connected to the village of Gaspra, or is it just a coincidence?
Yeah, it connected with his. It's connected with his city, yes. But in Ukraine, in Crimean Tatar, we say Gaspravo. This ending key, it's. I think it's more. It was published in Russian sources, and that's why we know it like this one. But in Crimean Tatar language, we say like Ismail Gaspravo. It means somebody who came from Gaspro.
Oh, it's like Qirimli and Gasperli.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
Li
yeah,
is, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I say
yeah,
it's an interesting one.
yeah, yeah. It's something that can help us to that create, and it means it creates like persons. How to I try to explain persons, yes, who came for this area. It
The
can
origin
help us to
of people,
explain
yeah.
area origin. Yeah.
So we have another thing on the list, which was famous people of Qirimli nation. I wondered if you wanted to tell us about any other people who you think the audience should know about.
Mm, you know, if we say about for famous people like historical, yes, it was one of the famous. It's Crimean. It's Ismail Gasprinsky and his students who were also very famous, and they made a lot of Crimean Tatars. But the main, famous person for me, it's Ismail Gasprinsky's daughter. Because when I tell this story for my some uh, for my friends, they were in shock because you know if you know about feminism, about suffragists in Europe, yes, we know about this a lot. We watched film, but if you know the first women's rights activist and politician in Russian Empire was a daughter, Ismail Gasprinsky's daughter. Her name is Shafika, and she was one of the first women who um, she was like one of the pioneers to start women movement under these conditions. I mean, like that, yeah, that women who lived in Before, yes, they couldn't have social, political, culture, economic life, yes, and they couldn't vote. And she started this way, and all her life she struggled with her schools, organizations, and political participation efforts for the awakening of Turkic women, about which not many people cared. And when I say this story for my friends, they like sometimes they are in shock because we have a lot of stereotypes about Crimean Tatars. First of all, because of our religion, and because we have a lot of stereotypes about Muslims and women's in the Muslims world. That's why we have a lot of stereotypes about Crimean Tatar women, but it's not like this, and we have to remember it. But I mean, I like this story because I want to show that we were really modern, and we are modern. For us, well, it's very important to have equal rights between women and men. For us, it's very important to take part in historical, economical, political, and cultural life of our government. Yes, but when you colonized by somebody, yes, it's very difficult to improve these skills, to improve this work. And after colonizing and after another event after colonizing, we have very, very big gap that stopped us even for today. If we speak about another famous, if we say about modern famous Crimean Tatars, yes, it's Ahtem Shitabayev, it's our actor, it's Jamala, who is, I think, she made her last work. It's really amazing. He took
Album Kyirim.
old Crimean, yes, yes.
It's just amazing.
He took
So
old,
it sounds so good.
yes. Yes, it's really it sounds good. It's and when I listened this first time after it was in May, I cried because I don't know. It's so sensitive and moments. Because he took old Crimean Tatar songs, yes, and he write and explain history uh, from what area they are. She translated in English and in Ukrainian to help people understand the main meaning. And this, music with orchestra, it's amazing. It's high level, I think.
So she took 15 Crimean cities or villages, and or not 15, 14, right? And she
Yeah.
made a song for each one, and it was like returning to childhood when you hear these songs.
Yeah, there are a lot of it's and the main value of this album that all of these songs are national songs. I mean, they wasn't written by someone. Yes, it's like our national traditional
Folk
songs.
songs.
I remember
Oh,
that my yes, grandma sang me when I was a child, and I also liked to listen to my grandma when he sang. And it was important for all of Crimean Tatars, and it's really complicated work, and it's very valuable for us.
Balakun, a bridge to Ukraine. Join the conversation at balakun.co.